Hey there! Do you ever wonder what would happen if Cinderella started her own rock band? Or if Medusa realized just how cool her hair was? Well, there's a Webby Award-winning show called Girl Tales that takes classic stories and puts a unique twist on them, giving girls the chance to save the day, use their intelligence and bravery, and show that they can be the heroes of their own stories. If you are ready for an adventure, find Girl Tales wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, kids! Coming up in this episode of BKFK's Storytime, Jinx introduces the Snaggletonians to something called a Flibbity Flub.
She raised her index finger to her rubbery green lips and quickly flicked them up and down. They made a strange burbling noise. This is called doing a Flibbity Flub.
Soon enough, everyone else is doing Flibbity Flubs without knowing why.
Jinx and Snickerfang were in hysterics under the table.
They are furious when they discover they'd been tricked, but Lexi comes to their rescue. But first, let's hear who the superstars are on this episode.
My name's Flora. I'm 8 years old. I'm from England, but I'm living in Malaysia. I love Minecraft and dinosaurs.
Hello, my name is Caleb. I am from India. I am 9 years old and I love reading books.
Hi, my name is Ellie. I live in Stuttgart, Germany, and I like dancing. And I am 7 years old.
Hi, my name is Adeline and I'm 8 years old. I'm from California and I like playing sports and playing with my little sister.
Hi, I'm Mila. I'm 9 years old and I love mountain biking. I live in Stuttgart, Germany.
Well done, kids. A splendiferous performance. Just a reminder, you are invited to our Magimajura online meetup on the 30th of November, where you can join us on Zoom. We'll have a live quiz, create new characters, invent goblin words, and meet the BKFK team. To sign up, go to bykids4kids.co.za or find the link in the show notes of this episode. We'd love you to join us. Okay, Ruby, let's get on with the story.
Flibbity Flubs. In the village of Snaggleton, the Glugging Gargoyle Tavern was unusually quiet. At one table sat Jinx and Snickerfang, the two mischievous goblins. Across the room, the terrible trio, Trolla the troll, Grumblegut the ogre, and Snotbeard the giant, sat quietly with their noses buried in their books.
Hey, Snickerfang!
Jinx whispered, her eyes gleaming with mischief.
Let's do something really silly today.
Snickerfang grinned.
Like what?
Jinx pointed across the room.
Look at the terrible trio over there. I bet we can get them to do something ridiculous.
Snickerfang's eyes widened with delight.
I'm in. What should we do?
Watch,
said Jinx and winked at her brother. Just then, the door of the tavern swung open and in walked Sir Chucklenugget the Knight. His green armor glittered in the firelight and clanked with each step.
Hello, friends,
he said as he walked in. Jinx stood up on her seat. She raised her index finger to her rubbery green lips and quickly flicked them up and down. They made a strange burbling noise. This is called doing a Flibbity Flub. It's a silly sound, but it had a curious way of catching attention. The terrible trio looked up, puzzled by the strange sound. They watched as Jinx's lips made the silly burbling noise. Before they could react, Snickerfang stood up on his seat and made the same noise. The ogre, the troll, and giant exchanged confused glances. Slowly, Trolla, Grumblegut, and Snotbeard began to stand up as well, awkwardly making their own Flibbity Flubs. Sir Chucklenugget, still baffled, sat down and ordered a drink. He glanced around, noticing the strange spectacle, but chose to ignore it, unsure of what to make of it. Jinx stifled a giggle when she watched the trio's awkward attempt at Flibbity Flubs. Snickerfang, on the other hand, found it hard to contain his laughter and snickered in the corner. A few moments later, the door creaked open again. This time it was Granny Gigglesnort who tottered in. Jinx and Snickerfang didn't miss a beat. They both stood up and began their Flibbity Flubs again. To their delight, the terrible trio joined in, although they were a bit hesitant.
What's going on?
Wondered Sir Chucklenugget. Everyone else was doing it, so he thought he probably should too. He stood up and joined in with the burbling noise. Granny was astonished to be welcomed by the two goblins, the troll, the ogre, the giant, and the knight, all respectfully standing up and doing Flibbity Flubs at her. She thought it only right to do a little Flibbity Flub in return. Everyone sat down again as Granny found a seat. However, before she could settle down, the door swung open again. Whistlethorpe and Sparky Flarkbottom stepped in, arguing about the design of an invention they were hatching up. They both stopped in mid-sentence as they saw everyone looking uncertainly from side to side, then respectfully standing up and doing Flibbity Flubs at them. They looked at each other and then did a quiet little Flibbity Flub to everyone else. Jinx and Snickerfang were in hysterics under the table. This happened again and again as more creatures entered the tavern. Next came Barnacle Bones, followed by Sylvaris the elf, Stanky, Fergus O'Gold, and all the rest. And each time, the crowd got to their feet and respectfully Flibbity Flubbed their newcomer. The room was now filled with an odd mix of Flibbity Flubs and puzzled expressions. The sight was enough to make anyone chuckle. Jinx and Snickerfang, now laughing uncontrollably, watched with glee as everyone seemed to get caught up in this ridiculous act. Just then, the door opened for the final time that day, and Lexi Lightdancer zipped into the tavern. He immediately burst into laughter at the sight before him. Every single creature in the tavern was standing up and making Flibbity Flubs.
Why is everybody doing Flibbity Flubs?
He asked and wiped away his tears of laughter. Everyone stopped Flibbity Flubbing at once and looked sheepishly at each other.
Because everyone else is?
Ventured Grumblegut. Not a sound could be heard. Nothing, that is, except the sound of muffled giggling under the table. Lexi stepped up to the table and pulled it aside, revealing Jinx and Snickerfang, who could contain themselves no longer. They clutched their bellies and roared with laughter. Lexi realized what was going on.
I think these two silly goblins were playing a trick on everyone.
Everyone suddenly understood too. They were outraged. They roared with anger and surrounded the giggling goblins.
Wait!
Shouted Lexi.
That's not all they did.
Grumblegut looked enraged.
What else did these plonkadonks get up to?
They taught us a lesson.
Continued Lexi. Everyone fell silent again.
What lesson?
Asked Grumblegut.
They wanted us all to follow along without thinking for ourselves. It's like we're all just sheep. We shouldn't just do something because everyone else is. It's important to think for ourselves and not just follow blindly.
Grumblegut, scratching his head, finally broke the silence.
I suppose that makes sense, Lexi. It was kind of silly anyway.
Trolla, who had been enjoying the messiness of her slime, sighed.
Oh, maybe I got a bit carried away with the bubbles.
Snotbeard nodded.
Yes, I suppose we shouldn't have joined in without understanding why.
They all silently pondered the important lesson they had learned.
However,
Said Granny Gigglesnort as she tottered forward.
you must admit, Flibbity Flubs are quite enjoyable, aren't they?
Everyone roared in delight. The Glugging Gargoyle was filled with the sound of hooting, cackling, laughter, and of course, Flibbity Flubs.
Flibbity Fun Quiz. Question 1. What was Jinx and Snickerfang's plan for the day? A. To invent a new gadget. B. To play a silly trick on everyone. C. To bake magical cookies. Or D. To fix the tavern's roof. And the answer is B. To play a silly trick on everyone. Question 2. What sound did Jinx and Snickerfang start making to get everyone's attention? A. Whistles. B. Roars. C. Flibbity Flubs. Or D. Goblin giggles. And the answer is C. Flibbity Flubs. Question 3. Who were the first to join in the Flibbity Flubbing? A. Sir Chucklenugget. B. The Terrible Trio. C. Whistlethorpe the Wizard. Or D. Sparky Flarkbottom. And the answer is B. The Terrible Trio. Question 4. What lesson did Lexi Light Dancer say everyone had learnt? A. How to make funny noises. B. The importance of thinking for yourself. C. How to laugh at goblin tricks. Or D. How to work as a team. And the answer is B. The importance of thinking for yourself. Question 5. How did the story end? A. Everyone chased Jinx and Snickerfang out of the tavern. B. The tavern became quiet again. C. Everyone laughed and kept doing Flibbity Flubs. Or D. Granny Gigglesnort turned them all into frogs. And the answer is C. Everyone laughed and kept doing Flibbity Flubs. And finally, here's a sample from the next chapter of our Patreon story, Queen Zixie of Ix. Chapter 2. The Book of Laws. On this same night, great confusion and excitement prevailed among the 5 high counselors of the kingdom of Noland. The old king was dead, and there was nobody to succeed him as ruler of the country. He had outlived every one of his relatives, and since the crown had been in this one family for generations, it puzzled the high counselors to decide upon a fitting successor. These 5 high counselors were very important men. it was said that they ruled the kingdom while the king ruled them, which made it quite easy for the king and rather difficult for the people. The chief counselor was named Tullydub. He was old and very pompous and had a great respect for the laws of the land. The next in rank was Tollydob, the Lord High General of the king's army. The third was Tillydib, the Lord High Purse-bearer. The fourth was Tallydab, the Lord High Steward. And the fifth and last of the High Counselors was Tellydeb, the Lord High Executioner. These 5 had been careful not to tell the people when the old king had become ill, for they feared being annoyed by many foolish questions. They sat in a big room next to the bedchamber of the king in the royal palace of Knoll, which is the capital city of Noland, and kept everyone out except the king's physician, who was half blind and wholly dumb and could not gossip with outsiders had he wanted to. And while the high counselors sat and if you'd like to hear more, become a BKFK patron. Go to patreon.com and search for By Kids for Kids Storytime. Hey guys, if you like this episode, please share it with your friends and family. It is one of the best ways to support BKFK Storytime.